Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, I have the a new kit from Tamiya to show you guys today. This is the brand new 1/12 scale Ducati motorcycle, and looking through it, it's a beautiful looking bike. Now, I've never built a motorcycle kit before, whether it be Tamiya or anybody else for that matter, and not too intimidated because the part count is pretty small. There's only 3 main sprues in the entire kit. So the parts don't look, you know, like overwhelming, like there's going to be like 1,000 parts in there or anything. So it's going to be a great way to introduce into the bikes. And then I'm very confident with the Tamiya spray cans. We're going to use those to make the red and white, and they have some masks and stuff inside to help us out with that too. So doing a nice glossy finish with Tamiya spray cans is really good, and we'll show you the paints that we're going to use on that later. But let's get started on it. So what I'll do is I'll kind of show you what's inside this kit. Once again, a very simple design, only 3 sprues again, 3 main sprues I should say. So we have all of our body parts all ready to go here, as well as this piece comes separated in a separate bag, and you can just see how beautiful they've molded this piece up. And here's the black sprue that comes inside, which is all your wheels or parts of the body and things like that. And then finally the silver sprue, which is your entire engine detail, your front forks, chain, things like that. And just look at some of the detail that goes into this kit. It's just absolutely wonderful. Then you have your glass components, and then we have the rest of the accessory pieces to show you. We have absolutely wonderfully, beautifully designed and cast rubber tires for this. In fact, my opinion, no one does rubber tires better than Tamiya. This is just absolutely wonderful. And then there you got your front tire there. You got your decals, and these have been printed up by Cartograph, so you know they're going to be really fine quality. You've got some line for the engine, or maybe for the brakes, according on this. Little micro screwdriver and a bunch of little screws, because from what I understand, a lot of these kits can be taken partially apart. And finally, you've got a real metal spring and some masks that are all ready to go. So what we'll be able to do on this kit is paint the entire cowl white, put our masks into place, paint the rest of it red, and then using our decals to go right up to the edge, we should hopefully have a really clean paint job on this. Now the first step we're going to do is the building of the engine. And I'm kind of just dry fitting this together here to show you how the parts go on. And the engine requires quite a few different colors to get painted on. So what we'll do is we're going to do it in little sub-assemblies. Like everything right here is all going to get painted the same color. When it comes to the other side, in this large piece, this gets painted a separate color. So I'm going to build these little sub-assemblies, paint that all solid, paint all these pieces the proper color. This is more of like a goldish color. And then once we get all the pieces painted, we'll put all the assembly together. So because there's going to be a lot of little painting and then assembly, I'll kind of show you how it starts to go together after we get all the painting done on this. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've done now. Like I was telling you earlier, I assembled all of these little sub-assemblies, and then we used a can of TS14 Tamiya Black. Sprayed the entire thing black, and then we went over it with a little bit of the Vallejo metal colors. We used a aluminum color for flat aluminum for the main part of the engine, and then all of these accessory parts we painted with the gold color. And I think it came out absolutely wonderful. It looks, at least in person right here, it looks like metal, and then this will just get glued into place. Kind of give you an idea, and then these will get glued on top of here to give it a little bit of highlight color. So I'm going to go ahead, and there is one piece that remains black, so I just left that the way it is. So I'm going to glue all these parts on together, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. And here is the primarily built engine block. There's obviously still a lot of other parts on there, but that's what the gold and aluminum color look like together on it. I'll quickly show you the next little group of parts that are going to go together. we've got this portion painted up, and this is going to clip into place here. And there's two little screws to get screwed in from the top down here, which, because the camera's kind of in the way, I won't show you that right now, but that'll screw that together. And then we've also got the radiator painted up, and that's ready to attach soon too. Okay, I'm just in the process now. We just painted up these bottom parts, and we're just putting the screws in to attach these points. One other thing I should point out to you too, this screwdriver is magnetized, especially for these tiny little screws. It would be really, really difficult if you didn't have a magnetized screwdriver for it. Hopefully you can see too, we do have two different colors of a metallic color on the bottom down here, and the stripe as it calls out. They are close, but hopefully you can see the difference in color. Then we've also gone ahead and painted up the tail exhaust pipes. And how I got this little type of finish to it is we sprayed the entire thing with our silver color, and then we went over it with a little Tamiya X25 clear orange and a touch of clear blue. And then right around anywhere the pipes meet, we use just a touch of panel liner to kind of just like blend it over and kind of darken the metal just slightly. So I think it'll build up to, I think it looks like a nice amount of burnt metal onto the bike. And with that, we can go ahead and snap that into place there, which I will do next, and actually glue it in. But I was test fitting it, and it fits really, really well. So, also, one of the reasons I was holding off on doing much more of the bike was I was actually waiting for this set from Tamiya to come in. And this is a detail up part series, and this has a whole bunch of extra super detail parts for this Ducati bike. We have some anodized turned aluminum forks and some other anodized parts in there. So, and especially these, I'll take these all open. I don't want to open these yet because I don't want to lose them. But these little tiny pieces in here, they expect you normally to just paint these little tiny dots, but with these we'll be able to put a touch of super glue and put these little fasteners right on. I think it's going to look gorgeous that way. So as we go along, I'll point out what parts are the new updated parts and what are the regular kit parts. But I just wanted to show you guys that now. And now I am gone ahead and just snapped the radiator into place here, and on the bottom there is one screw that we will pop in there, but kind of give you an idea what we're looking like so far. Now a lot of this is going to get covered over by the cowl, but the parts that do stick out I think will look really good, and I'm just super impressed by the amount of detail that Tamiya has put into this kit. Now I will use panel liner on the engine and such after we get a little further along. I'm just trying not to handle it as little as possible. I usually will hold it with some paper towel or something just so to keep the oils from my hand off. But yeah, it's really looking like a nice build so far. Next, we're going to take the time to drill out all the little holes on the brake rotors, as well as this is the part that goes in back of the chain, so I'm assuming it's like a brake for the chain. And pardon me, I don't know much about motorcycles, especially these exotic bikes, but I think this will look pretty good once we get done with it. It might only just take a couple hours, but I think it'll really make those pieces pop. Okay, that is one of the forks completed, and I'll show you how quickly these go together. We've painted up this portion of it right here. We're sliding that little brass ring on, followed by this little black piece right here, and then a little tiny poly cap goes into place, and then the entire thing slides down this piece of anodized aluminum, and pretty tight fit. And there you have it. There's your one of your front forks. Okay, now we're taking these little metal filler pieces, and we've drilled out that portion of the brake rotors, and now we're installing these little tiny pieces. There's 6 of them on each rotor, and we have 2 rotors to fill. So it's a little tough getting the super glue in the right place, but I think they look pretty cool once we get them into place there. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these glued on, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Okay, I'm in the process right now where we're going to glue on the chain, and the other side is the brake rotor and calipers. Now, I've just glued that portion of the caliper in place. Now we can go ahead and slide the chain on, and it's got a little break in it so it can slide up inside here. And it's just a matter of wiggling it back and forth till you get it to fit. It's got a specific shape on the other side that you want to get just right. Then that'll pop in like that, nice and straight. And then we can put our rotor on, and this is the one that we hollowed out all the little holes on it, so that's ready to go. We don't want to put any glue on that yet because that's going to get attached mainly to the wheel, which I've painted up the wheel. Haven't done any of the decaling or anything yet on it, and we do have to put the other half of the caliper on, but you can kind of see how this whole thing will fit right inside there, and that piece gets attached to the wheel, so when the wheel spins, the rotor spins as well. So I am going to go finish up, put the rest of that caliper on, and then we can start working on the decals and building this whole sub-assembly for the rear. Okay, now we're at the point we're going to attach this portion to the other sub-assembly that we've completed, and there'll be two little screws, one on this side and one on the other, that we need to put on. I'm going to go ahead and screw those on. Now there's a few other outer pieces that we need to put around the chain. I'm going to attach those after we put all this together. I think it'll be a little bit easier to hold because it's kind of tiny parts. So I'm going to screw this on, and then we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. And we're not going to attach this yet because we have a few other parts, but to give you an idea of what we're looking at so far. Absolutely beautiful workmanship that that Tamiya has put into this. Okay, now we're attaching the upgrade parts to the top of the forks, and we have these little blue anodized pieces we need to get in there just perfectly. There we go. And we've also assembled your front forks. So clearly this piece is gonna through the bike, of course. These pieces will fit right inside of here. And we've got a few other little tiny pieces to put inside there, but I'll show you what it looks like when we actually attach it to the frame of the bike. Okay, I'm gonna try my hardest to see if I can show you how this goes together with the camera in the way here. We'll see if we can get this done. And so we've got our upper portion up here. We put the little valves in up there, and now we're just going to slide the front forks in. And hopefully we can get those to line up. And that does. That locks right into place there. Slide that out a little bit, and then we've got one little set screw. It's going to hold the whole thing together. We'll tighten that down. And there we are. There's our whole little front end. It looks really, really good that way. Now we're going to go and start working on the rest of the rear wheel components. Okay, I've got the spring and all these other pieces assembled. Now it's just a matter of going ahead and interweaving it back around these different pieces. There's 3 little screws that will go inside to hold that entire piece to it. And what I'll do is, off camera, I'll put those 3 screws on. It's kind of hard with the camera in the way. It'll give you a general idea. And once I get it all taken care of, I'll come back and show you how it works. Okay, now we're just hooking up the lines that Tamiya has included with the kit, and these are all made out of like a vinyl hose that just push into place, and then we can run those through. So there's about 7 or 8 of them total we have to put on, that I'll finish putting the rest of those on and kind of wind them the way they need to go. Then next, after that, we're going to apply these side pieces, and they have this little fine decal on this one and on the other one. Now I can't read it in person right there, so what I did was I took my phone and zoomed in really big on the wording on there, and I'll show you a picture right there. But all of that is actually all real wording, and it is probably about 3/8 of an inch long total. So Okay, we've got all the holes drilled out now, as well as all those little aftermarket little metal pieces in there. Put the decals on, sealed those in, and now we're about to attach it to the front fork, and that is done with a long screw. It'll go all the way through, which the camera's a little bit in my way right here, but we'll see if we can show you. Yeah, so then we'll tighten that down, but getting a little better idea of what the cycle's looking like. And like I pointed out in that other thing, I did have the other pieces for the handlebars on backwards, and it just snapped those off and popped those new ones on. Then we'll go ahead and glue those other pieces into place and show you what it looks like. Okay, as you can see here, we've gone ahead and attached some of the other parts, including all of the brake lines, and especially this one right in here. These are kind of tough to get a hold of and get them mounted, but a little tip: if you attach the top portion up inside first, it makes it a lot easier to attach the bottom portion. So I said earlier that I was going to attach that side panel. I actually needed to put those brake lines on first, so now we can go ahead and mount that inside there, and that'll block off a lot of those other pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and screw those down, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. And with that part attached, now we can go ahead and attach this portion right here, and that too is going to use a couple more little screws that are going to mount right up inside there. And so we're really starting to come along on the shape of the bike, as you can see here. And we might do a little weathering on some of the engine, although a lot of that's going to get covered up. So, but really liking the way it's starting to come together. Well, what I've been doing for a little while now is I've been taking all of the body panels and putting them together. Like here we have the tank, and spent a lot of time sanding that and putting it together, getting it all nice and clean. Then I've put 2 light coats of TS8 Italian red, as it's called out in the instructions. Let that dry for a while, then we've come back and hit it with a coat of TS13 to give it a gloss. I'm actually thinking probably, even though it looks beautiful right now, I might do one more coat of gloss to really give it a little extra protection. We've also gone ahead and sprayed the seat with a flat color, a flat black, and just wanted to give you guys a look at how beautiful the lines on the bike is, even without all the cowl on it and stuff. It just looks great. Plus, we've also attached the lights. I can kind of show you what those. Now, there's a lot of shrouding around that, so all that's going to get covered up other than the actual light itself. And the tail lights we've got in too, and kind of hard to see, but they're done in the clear red like they were supposed to. So now I'm just going through each one of the parts, and honestly going to be spraying the entire thing with the spray cans from here on out, using TS26 like it calls out, the pure white, the Italian red of course on this, and then just gloss black for the rest of any other pieces that we need to do. And I'll kind of try to show you because I am doing a lot of the painting outside, because the cans are a little strong smelling. It's a little hard to show you all the things, so thought I would just give you an idea what's going on and where we're at on the bike build right now though. Okay, as you can see, I'm in the process of putting the decals on now. And before we did this, we've spray painted the body 3 coats of TS8, the Italian red, which we told you about. And then I've put 3 real light coats of TS13, the clear coat, on to get a really nice shiny finish to it. Now, once we put the decals on, and we did use a little bit of Mark Fit underneath the decal. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put a little bit on top, let that soak in, dry in there the best it can, and then about a couple minutes later we're going to come back and like soften it down with a cotton swab. But we don't want to use TS13 over the decals, because there is a possibility that it could eat the decal up. So just be careful of that. Use some other type of clear coat once you get the decals on. And you can also see we've started putting the decals hopefully up on top here, the Italian flag on that. So I'm going to start putting the rest of the decals on the tank, and then we might be able to fit it into place. I've also been dry fitting the front cowl, and it basically just snaps right on there. And then there's one other little piece of red that was drying right now that will pop that into place as well. So before we do the sides of the cowl, we'll show you the decaling on that. But it's pretty much the last little stages here of just getting all the parts together. I just kind of dry fitted a few more of the parts into place here to kind of show you guys that, to me, in person here, it looks like this bike could start up and just drive away at any moment. It's such a detailed kit, probably the most detailed kit I think I've ever built. So let me show you what I've been working on for a while now. I've gone ahead and started masking and spraying and decaling all of the cowl pieces that go on the side of the bike. As you can see here, we used TS8 Italian Red and TS26 Pure White. And I wanted to use the spray cans on these kits. We could have airbrushed them, but I think using the spray cans, it makes it a little bit more approachable for the average modeler, because not all the modelers that want to do this stuff, I get a lot of people responding and saying, hey, can you show me something not using an airbrush? So this is the kind of work you can get out of the spray cans. Now, Tamiya does include a mask that will mask this off right here, and then we applied all the decals. I did mess up on the instructions though, and point it out to you. This little portion of the red, half of it is supposed to be white. It's supposed to be a continuous white stripe across the entire bike. And when I put the mask on, it was a separate mask, and I didn't notice it right away. Painted it, started decaling it, clear coated it, did everything, then realized it. And honestly, I'll kind of show you what else I've done here. I've gone ahead and I've attached one of them to the side of the bike, and honestly I don't think it looks bad at all, so I'm not going to mess with trying to go back, remask. I'll end up messing up the paint job even worse. And like I said, I think it looks good. It blends right into the red tank, and that's really like our little secret right there. But like I said, I still think it looks pretty good. Now, of course, as you can see, I have gotten quite a bit of the model done, and all we have to really do is attach the rest of the cowl pieces. And I'll show you more of that at the final reveal. And just a couple other quick things that I've done. Should also point out too, after we put all the paint and the decals on, I sprayed it with 2 coats of Tester's clear coat. And this is Tester's 1260 can, just lacquer clear coat. I was going to use the Tamiya, but Tamiya is very, very specific about saying that it can hurt your decals. So we didn't want to have anything like that happen. So we put 2 coats of that on. And finally, the last thing we're doing is just polishing up with regular automotive car polish, just to get it a real ultra shine. Now you can see there's a little hole here and a little hole here. There's the 2 little micro screws that will attach it to the side of the cowl, so it can come off rather easily if you decide that you want to show off the engine. That's ready to come right off for you. So I'm going to finish up polishing up the bike the best I can, and we'll come back and show you the final reveal. Well, here we are. Here is our completed model, and I'll first give you a quick little spin around the entire bike. Let you see everything there. Now, as you can see on this side, I've left the cowl off the side, and that's to show you that if you do decide you want to have it set up that you can see the entire insides of it, both cowls come off very easily, and you can just leave it displayed on the side here. Or, once again, if you want to, just take that little screw out right there, pop it in, and the whole bike is right back together. There is one other little tiny screw down here too, but you've got the little screwdriver that I was telling you earlier that's magnetized, so it goes together really well. This is probably, without a doubt, the most rewarding kit I think I've ever put together. And what I mean by rewarding, the amount of detail and the look of this, even just using spray cans. I mean, to me, spray cans are obviously very, very good, and it just came out wonderful. I'm very, very happy with the fit and finish on this bike. Just a work of art by Tamiya. Now, I would recommend too, if you have the possibility of getting it, the extra hop-up parts, because all of the front forks are all extra metal or anodized metal. Some of these little parts in here, these little blue parts, this little gold part. That's another thing too. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. We've gone ahead and put all the decals on, even the Brembo on the brake calipers, the little decals on some of the other pieces back there. Just a wonderful piece all the way around. So as a model, it's actually a fairly easy kit to put together. The most time-consuming part about the whole thing is that you're building small sub-assemblies, building, painting, building, painting, building, painting, and that's what takes the most amount of time. And that's why I think the spray cans helped out quite a bit, especially when you're doing the small little parts like on the cowl, things like that. Because you're constantly rolling up some masking tape, putting that part on, taking it outside, spraying it. Did use, like I was showing you earlier, all the metal colors on the engine, which I think those metal colors really make it pop, especially the burnt metal on the pipes down there. I'll let you know, this is by far not going to be my last motorcycle kit from Tamiya. I am so impressed with the quality on this. Definitely want to do some more. In fact, I'm hoping some new motorcycle kits will be coming out in the near future that we can build up and show off. Give you one more little bit lower angle on it as well there. One other thing I want to show you guys too that I think is pretty cool. You can take this off and the kickstand is completely workable on this too. So if you want to display it like a more natural thing with the kickstand down, you've got that option. I keep using this piece here because it's a little bit more sturdy, that we don't have to worry about the bike falling over on it. So, but beautiful looking. I like to give you guys multiple angles. This one's from a little bit higher up. See it? And this diorama piece, not really a diorama, this is just an old piece of road I built a long time ago. It's a little beat up and scratched, but I thought it would work out perfectly for showing off a motorcycle kit. So I want to thank you guys as always for watching. This has been a real pleasure to build this kit for you. Please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.